Hello and welcome to Tea Leaf Readings. My name is Lenor and today I'm going to be reading your tea leaves. This is a horoscope for Aquarius. If Aquarius is your solar, lunar, ascendant / rising sign, then this is a message for you. All right, let's get started. And so, Aquarius, our card tonight is the Queen of Discs. Kind of that real Earth Mama energy. And so let's take a look and see what these tea leaves have to say. And if you have not subscribed yet, please think about doing that. You can hit that little bell. It'll let you know when the next readings are coming out. It is free to subscribe. And if you'd like to hit the little like button or leave a comment, please do. If this is your first time, I'd love to hear from you. Now, the first thing I'm seeing here is we have a little dog. It looks like it's kind of laying down. We have the eyes, the nose, the mouth. Here's the head. You can see the ear right here. You can see kind of the body over here. And it looks like it's just kind of hanging out, you know, just laying there in the grass, laying there on the porch, laying there next to your feet. And I feel that this is really, it does feel like a strong bond and kinship. Okay, now this might be that you have a puppy, a dog, or at some point in your life you've had a real strong bond with a dog. But this could also really signify your relationship with a good friend, right? Somebody who is your best friend even. How do we come to this relationship in the symbol? Of course, we know man's best friend, right? So the dog often in my mind symbolizes loyalty, right? A person who you are close with, who you can count on, who you can trust, who you know will be there for you. And now it maybe is a human, maybe it is in fact an animal. A lot of us have made best friends with our companion animals, and that, is not a bad life. It's not a bad life to have a dear companion in that way. So I look at this and there just seems to be a real peace around your friendship. And I think that's super important. I think that's very close to the front of your mind. It is something that you value and prioritize. And that's a beautiful thing. The older we get, I feel, and maybe this has always been true, maybe it's more true in our modern era right now. It's not easy to make good friends the older you get. I don't know if this gets easier maybe when you are like post-work or you have more time, you've retired, or your kids are out of the house, what have you. But it does feel like it's not easy to really get to know somebody. At least not in a way that feels meaningful. I don't know. Maybe it's not meaningful, but in a way where you're both open, right? You're both open to having that deep connection. And, so in this situation, I feel like you're very grateful to have this friendship. And I wonder if it is, like a long-term relationship, if this is somebody who you've been good friends with for many years, right? I wouldn't be surprised because there is a real conscious attention to this relationship here. Now let's go ahead and keep turning, and I want to see what else. I want to see what this has to do with, really. So I'm seeing here we have, it looks like an angel. You can see the wings, you can see kind of the robe, the arms. Now it looks like like a cherubim, right? The little baby angel type of motif, right? And it looks like it's kind of pouring down. It looks like a little heart, and so I almost imagine like kind of pouring down like glitter or pixie dust or you know, something. But it is this real sense of eros or euros or not love, right? And maybe not that. That's actually the wrong kind of love. No, this is not amorous. This is not eros. This is agape. That's what I should have said. Agape. Now, what is agape? This is our love with the divine. This is our love with God, Goddess, with the ineffable, with our faith, with our spiritual path, whatever kind of icon or what's the word? Personification, right? Personality or imagery that you apply to your divine being or divine beings, right? This is your love and devotion, your union with this energy, okay? And so for this to kind of be poured out over the head of the angel, it feels like an absolution. It feels like a blessing. If you've ever heard that saying, a blessing on your head, right? This is what comes to mind. This is kind of, you know, I get a sense of within your life having this relationship with a guardian angel, knowing that you're looked after, not just looked over, looked after, okay? You're cared for, you are coveted. The divine is showing up for you in your life actively. You are perceiving this, and there are a lot of little blessings. I think the biggest blessing of them all is your gratitude for the blessings of your life, for the gifts of your life, but also your ability to perceive that which most people have no, you know, concept of going on around them, right? So maybe you are clairvoyant, maybe you are a medium, or you can channel or something like this. And maybe it is that you are aware. You're just aware of spirit being kind of woven into everything, to finding the little miracles within the subtle, right? Those in-between places, not the grand happenings or, you know, the big wins or, you know, things that are perceivable and quantifiable, and you would say, yeah, anybody would say this is some kind of beautiful thing given to you from God, from the divine, from Goddess. Yeah, these things are wonderful, and of course we are thankful for them, but in life, there are so many times, there's so much of our existence that dwells in the mundane, in our daily tasks, and the going through the motions. When we are able to perceive in those otherwise ordinary things, the little miracles, you know, one that I always think of myself is making it home safely. I mean, simply that, right? going out in the world, driving around, being around people you don't know, being in places that you don't know that well, or places that you know very well, places that you are every single day, your work, your school, your wherever, right? And then you get in your car, or you get on the bus, or your bicycle, or you're walking home, or whatever it is, and you get home. Everything is, unremarkable, or so it seems. And you kind of put your things down and you go about the next part of your day, your business, and we don't really think about, it's amazing, it's a miracle that I got home safely. There's so many moving parts to this world, so many variables, and yet I was able to, walk through life with no big dramas. And these are the miracles of our life. These are the things that dwell in those subtle pieces, right? And when we can become suddenly aware of them, what a great blessing that is. It changes our perception. When we learn, when we intentionally have ourselves focusing on the many little extraordinary things that are happening. So I feel like there's an ability here for an Aquarius person, which does not surprise me. Not only are you very perceptive, you're very thoughtful, right? You excel. You are a masterful contemplator. Okay, so I feel that this comes so naturally to you, but it is something that anyone can kind of forget. It is something that anyone can kind of ignore. We get so wrapped up in the tedium of things, and the big things, and the very little things, but there's so much in between. And so here, I feel, is a very apparent road to a spiritual life, to a life of that agape, right? That is kind of being thrown around in your life, dusted with the beauty of things. And so we also have a person standing here. They have another person next to him. I imagine a child, right? The child has a fish. The person here has a flower. You can see the flower right here. Okay. You can see the person standing here, the child. You can see the head of the taller person or the adult, and the body and the foot. Okay, now we also have a snake down here, a serpent. We have another person who has a kite. Oh no, is it a kite or a flower? It kind of actually looks like a flower as well. It seems to be, yes, lots of flowers. And we have a person up here. Maybe it's not a person. No, it's a bird. You can see it kind of hidden in all of the leaves, kind of sitting here. You can see the beak right here. Here's the eye. Okay. Now, we also have a ribbon. Okay, and so when I see the ribbon, I know that this is some kind of survivor. Okay, so I'm looking at this and I feel it feels like there has been some kind of maybe a journey, a health journey, something through a pretty profound ailment, a disease, some kind of something coming up. And I feel that this really has affected the entire family, right? Which sickness does. It's not something that we go through by ourselves. Even if we perceive it to be that way, it does. It affects everybody around us. And so I don't know that this is actually your ailment, but it does feel like somebody close to you. Maybe a parent, maybe actually your child. But I maybe one of your children. I don't know. But I feel that there is another child here who is probably an adult, right? Or at least older. And I feel like during this time, they in particular have turned towards their work. And we have that serpent down by their feet. So I wonder if maybe it was like a focus on schooling, maybe going to college or a trade school, an apprenticeship or something like this. And now they're getting into the workforce, or they have, right? But I feel like there's almost a sense of this is how they've protected themselves from what's been going on. So I feel like this is maybe an ongoing thing, a chronic disease or chronic maybe pain of some kind. But it is something that has made things, I feel, difficult. You know, of course, when people aren't feeling well, when any of us aren't feeling well, especially for prolonged periods of time, it can really change the atmosphere of things. So I feel like this is a kid, a child, a family member, maybe even, I mean, it could be that it's a spouse, but I don't think so. I think this is a child. And so they've gone out into the world and really kind of, I almost wonder if, you know, at times there's some lament or feeling some type of way because they don't really call or visit that often. And I think that it's kind of, it compounds the situation because you know the kind of person they are. Maybe they just have a rough time kind of communicating. And, you know, I think generally, especially if this is a younger person, they just don't call that often. They don't call that often. They don't check in that often, right? And I think that, you know, it's a pretty normal behavior. I also think that generally it's just the era that we're in. You know, I think a lot of our relationships are very passive because we have access to each other indirectly, right? A lot of us have social medias. A lot of us just share pictures or memes, or we're in group chats and we're never really talking to somebody directly, but we can see what's going on in each other's lives. So it feels like we're involved when, you know, really there's no direct communication, or it's very limited, and that can feel quite lonely. And I think a lot of people operate in this kind of, I don't know what it is called exactly. I always think of maybe like a parasocial relationship, although that's a little different. That's like when somebody doesn't even know you. Like, okay, you listen to a podcast, right? And they share about their lives a lot, and you get to know them, and they feel like friends, and you know, they just feel very familiar. Well, they don't know you, right? They don't have any interaction with you really, or maybe like a little bit in the comments, but they don't really know you personally. And it's kind of maybe a one-sided relationship. And we have this with a lot of things in our lives in this modern world. So we kind of get that fulfillment of having a friendship where there really is no relationship. And so I feel like even with those that we know well, this happens. You know, we know what's going on in your life. We see what you're doing, where you're going, And yet there's no real like messaging or talking, checking in or anything like that. So it can really create a space of, I think it is like a chronic loneliness for a lot of people. And I feel like that could be going on with your child on their side and on your side. Now, if you were the person who has been ill, or if it is somebody else, maybe it is your spouse, maybe it is another child, maybe it is your parents or somebody you're taking care of. It still could feel like a deep kind of neglect or abandonment by somebody you really care about, and of course, as our kids get older and our family members, what did Tara fall over? I wonder if that happened before the thing and I started. Anyways, we hope that they go out there and live their own lives. Any of the children or kids of our life, as they get into their, graduations and going to school and getting into the world. Yeah, there is a sense of trying to understand, they're busy. They have their own life, right? But I feel like this is something that it does affect you, and so with them holding the fish, I really feel that there is an emphasis on making money. I feel like that's really a drive for them. Now, with the flowers, I do feel like this is really like, wanting to kind of make somebody feel special or, at first, when I was thinking here, I imagined a room full of flowers, right? Where there is ailment, where there is the kind of, you become locked into a place where you are ailing, you are in the house a lot, you're sitting in the living room or in bed, or maybe it's the hospital or some kind of like rehabilitation center of some kind, right? Assisted living or something like this. And I'm thinking like in these places where it feels kind of devoid of comfort, it is kind of sterile, or the house, you're in the house and it's very quiet, it can feel pretty lonely, you're passing the hours, watching television or sitting and reading a book or just kind of hanging out, I guess. And there's all this space in my mind. I'm thinking it's like all this space in design. There is something called negative space, right? And so like if you think of a logo where it's just black and white, we'll just use that. There's black and white, and there's in between the lettering or the shapes and things, there is that white space, and it creates its own shape, right? Because it is, here it would be, this is kind of the negative space, but you can see that it has its own shapes, like the dog we looked at. Okay, so I am imagining in these places of feeling unwell, of feeling maybe isolated, alienated, of quiet, but it feels like it's just this kind of dragging on and hoping that things kind of get better, praying for it, wishing for it. I feel this imagery in my head of taking many flowers and feeling the space where it feels empty, echoey, profoundly and a vast separation from everything that feels familiar, how life once was, right? And so if this is you who is ailing, or if this is somebody in your life who, you are trying to kind of pad their life with these meaningful experiences and being there with them, and not letting them kind of languish in the loneliness of it all, or the grief of, your life really changing, your body, your existence is altered by pain, by different challenges that they arise. And so I feel there's just this kind of mixed feeling there of wanting to be supported and around this child, who I think is an adult. Of course they have finished school and they're in the workforce, and they're probably an adult. But there is, but at the same time, you're very mindful. You don't like to affect people or put them out, right? So, or inconvenience. That's the word I was thinking. Inconvenience people. So I feel like there's, this kind of hoping for them to be showing up more. And a bit of a lamenting that they have not. Okay. Now we also have a goat up here. So you can see this one is like one of those long hair kind of goats. Beautiful horns on the top. And I imagine immediately that this has to do with your strength, your resolve. You're managing through even these most difficult circumstances. And, there's nothing worse than that feeling of, being able to get through the thing, and people keep saying, oh, you're so brave and you're so, you are so strong. You're so strong. And it's like, I just feel like I'm falling apart inside. I just want some kind of support. I don't want to be told that I'm strong. I want to be vulnerable. I want to be cared for. I want to be in connection with somebody, that really heart to heart, right? So I look at this and I feel like, this is you. You are very strong. You've been through some things and you continue to move forward. But that's not always, it doesn't feel like a compliment, especially when you're going through these periods of time where you're wishing for that connection with somebody who knows you well, who you know well. And it's not coming. It's not happening. And, you hope that it happens organically. But to, kind of reach out and be like, hey, can you come over? Will you come spend some time with me? You don't want to add anything to their plate, so you don't do that. And it can be a really tough place to be in. Absolutely. But that being said, you are strong. You are very strong. Okay, let's see. We have... Now, I'm looking at this and it looks like leap to me. L-E-A or E, and then P, but backwards. It's a P, but it's backwards. So leap. Leap. And then we'll just look at this one last thing. We have a face here. It reminds me of the Green Man, or some kind of spirit or forest spirit. You will have to forgive me. I have started working early in the morning. Well, it's about 5 o'clock, I guess. What time is it now? Yeah, it's around 5:15 here, so which is fine usually. I've gotten into this really early morning schedule and I love it. But last night, my husband and I, shout out to Dove and Serpent Tarot, we stayed up late and watched Interview with the Vampire. I always thought it was Interview with a Vampire, but it's apparently Interview with the Vampire. We watched the last episode and stayed up way past my bedtime. Now my bedtime's like as early as I can, but I was up until like 11 or 12. So I feel like I'm in the fog a little bit. So you'll have to, yes, forgive me and be patient with me. I'm I'm here. All right. So, yeah, we have that face. And to me, it feels like when we have the green man or like this kind of like satyr or some kind of unknown forest spirit, it doesn't let itself really be seen, right? But you can feel it. It's an energy. If you go hiking, if you go camping, if you go walking in the woods, maybe you live next to the woods, you will know the feeling. It's like, is there some kind of big animal out there? Is there something watching me? What is, it feels like an encroaching danger, but it's not necessary. It can be, right? Because nature doesn't care about our feelings or I don't know, maybe it does. It cares about our well-being, I imagine. I do believe that. But sometimes we run into these energies where, there's kind of a darkness to them, a real unknown, a mysterious feeling. And so I feel that, at some point you're going to experience this. Now, what does it mean? I don't know. It depends on the context. Where are you? What's going on? Are you prone to freaking yourself out? Maybe. Maybe you are. But yeah, look out for that feeling. Now, it looks like it says July, and today's the 1st of July. Now, when this comes out, it will not be the 1st of July, but now it is. It looks like July. Look at that, July. So, maybe that was July. Okay, so we have July. It's shouting it out. It's the first day of July, and I hope we all have a most wonderful July, by the way. We have dogs. The wildness of the dogs. I feel like there's a restlessness here for you. A real want to getting things done. We have some shovels. I have kind of a sword here. I feel like there is kind of almost this unsettled feeling. Not a bad one, just where it's kind of like the things you've procrastinated, the things that need to get done, it's all coming to your mind right now. Yeah, I got so much to do and so little time. So I think it's just kind of letting yourself feel that for a moment, trying to let it go, right? Nobody gets things done, well. We might feel like it, but things don't get done well when you are in a state of panic, right? Now, maybe picking up your house when you find out somebody's stopping by and you're running around getting everything picked up, the clothes and the coffee cups sitting on the table and, whatever. It's just a little bit of a mess and run. That might be an exception. But yeah, don't let it overtake you. The anxieties of feeling like you're falling behind. Breathe. Take some time. Make a plan. Follow through. That's my best advice. All right. So we're going to do the divine doors. I'm going to flip through and stop where it feels right. And it says, a distant kiss and a prayer flag. I wish of all wishes that you were here through sunlight and rain. I need you near. That's the energy, right? This is what the reading was really about. There's this feeling of wanting for, to be with, to have that support, okay? And so, you know, I think the best thing that we can do in these situations is communicate, you know, not demand, not get upset or resentful or be forceful or you know, anything like that. But yeah, just communicate in a real way, in an honest way. But be ready to accept if they can't show up for you, you know, or maybe it is something they're avoiding. It's too stressful or hard or, you know, whatever. You know, so I don't know. I think communication is key. That's my opinion about things. Get it out there as soon as you can, right? Do it in a way that is kind and mindful, empathetic, and understanding. Above all, understanding. Okay, Aquarius, I'm going to go ahead and tell you I love you, because I do, and I thank you so much for spending this time with me. It is always such an honor to be able to bring these messages to you. And if you would be so kind as to like the video, it really does help the channel. And if you have not subscribed yet, please think about doing that. It is free to subscribe. And if you'd like to leave a comment, I'd love to hear from you. And if it's your first time watching the readings, definitely leave a comment. Let me know. All right. Take care of yourself. We'll talk in a few days. Good night.